So today we'll be going over a few stories, including Sonya Deville's replacement, Alexa's teaser, and more. Let's start things off with Sonya Deville and Naomi's situation. This story began a few weeks ago when Naomi was traded to SmackDown. In reality, reports claim that Naomi was quietly moved to SmackDown in order to be with her husband Jimmy, as WWE went back on the road full-time. WWE has always kept couples together throughout the brand split, so that's nothing really new. So that's the backstory behind Naomi's brand change, but she gets to SmackDown and wants to make an impact. Obviously, you're talking about a former two-time SmackDown Women's Champion here in Naomi. She's seen some of her greatest WWE success on this brand, so she will understandably be thrilled to be back. She goes up to Sonya Deville for a match on the show, but kept getting shot down week after week until Naomi finally snapped and had enough of what Sonya was doing. Telling by some of the words Sonya said while she was having security escort Naomi out of the ring, we got a pretty good idea on how Sonya actually feels about Naomi. Sonya mentioned how Naomi has been caught up with the TikTok dances the most lately, and how Naomi drops the ball every time she's given the chance. A frustrated and angry person is always going to tell you the truth and speak from the heart, and that's what Sonya's character basically did here in this moment. The reason why Sonya really wasn't going out of her way to find Naomi a match is because Sonya doesn't see anything in Naomi. She doesn't see the future in Naomi, she just sees the past. And of course, Sonya is wrong. Naomi will obviously make a huge splash on SmackDown if given the chance. But it's hard to get that opportunity with your authority figure when they don't even give you the chance. So that's our conflict and story here. Sonya doesn't want to give Naomi a match against anyone on SmackDown. So Naomi wants to wrestle Sonya Deville instead. And this is a topic that hasn't been touched on much at all since Sonya returned. Sonya returned to WWE after a few months away and instantly became a WWE authority figure. However, it was never mentioned why she could no longer wrestle and be an in-ring competitor. That was sort of skipped right over. We never got a full explanation to why Sonya returned as an authority figure rather than continuing as an in-ring competitor. No story there at all. But we all assumed that there would be one storyline down the road to focus on Sonya Deville to lace up her boots again, and it appears that we finally made it to that storyline. So Sonya Deville will return to the ring for this matchup with Naomi. But what happens next after that? Win or lose, does Sonya Deville go back to being an in-ring competitor, or does she remain as an authority figure position? That's a really good question that no one really has the answer to so far. Maybe Sonya is punished for the words she said to Naomi, and that costs her her position. Or maybe Naomi talks Sonya into putting her position on the line during the match. Maybe we'll see some storyline explanation or stipulation that will fully write Sonya out of that role. Another big theory going around is, what if another superstar replaces Sonya Deville and takes her position as an authority figure? It's an interesting theory and makes a lot of sense. Adam Pearce has had Sonya Deville as his right hand for a long time, and even though they collided on a few things, they still split the workload and made things easier for each other. So would Adam Pearce be actively looking for a replacement since he's so used to having a partner? There's a few names that would make sense in this spot, maybe someone like Sami Zayn or Baron Corbin. Sami Zayn's character had that entire conspiracy storyline going, where the character was obsessed with the idea of WWE management being out to get him. So what would happen if Sami finds himself as part of a WWE management team? How would he handle that? He would be a part of a management that he once thought was out to get him. It'll be intriguing to see if his mind on the conspiracy changes and how he handles that power. Corbin is another good option. He has a bit of experience in a management role. Remember that Corbin was once Raw's constable, so he was technically a WWE official in the past. So it would be interesting to see how he would handle that position, especially with his new jolly and happy personality. So this storyline is absolutely on a good track right now. It's going to be great to see Naomi versus Sonya, and it'll also be interesting to see what happens to that empty WWE official role. Alexa Bliss is rumored to be on a little hiatus from the WWE, but she's still throwing out some clues about what's next for her, so let's get into that. Alexa Bliss took to Twitter to quote Albert Einstein and had this to say: "Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another." So it's really a nice teaser there by Alexa Bliss. Sort of gives you flashbacks of when Bray Wyatt used to tweet out cryptic quotes after some of his big character moments as well. This quote here could relate to pretty much anything, but fans are relating this quote to what happened at Extreme Rules and a possible change in character for Alexa Bliss. Could this quote mean that Alexa's persona won't be destroyed from what happened at Extreme Rules, per se, but changed into another form? That could be a realistic possibility for sure. Like we briefly touched on before, doesn't make much sense for Alexa Bliss to return as her normal self like nothing happened. It seems likely that a new drastic change could come directly to Alexa's current dark persona. Alexa and Lily did have some dark, scary moments, but most of the time Alexa was jolly and happy. But with the loss of what she viewed as her best friend, it feels like it'll serve as a wake-up call for her, and we'll see a much more serious and darker version of Alexa Bliss. A version of Alexa that just returns on this dark revenge tour to take everyone out and finally capture a championship. So that's exciting. Alexa's character could get a change here, and hopefully they have something big planned for her return. Recent history tells us to not get our expectations too high for returns like these. Everyone remembers how they wrote off The Fiend and how he was going to lead to a drastic new change, and nothing happened at all for him after that. So even though there is excitement for Alexa's change, we have to keep recent history in the back of our heads. With Alexa Bliss now technically being a part of this inactive roster, it'll also be interesting to see if she gets drafted or not. Superstars that aren't active usually don't get picked in the draft most of the time. So if Alexa does go undrafted, that really isn't a bad thing at all, because then she could show up on any brand and make a surprise return. As far as the reason why Alexa has been written off, reports claim that Alexa is having surgery done. No timetable for her return quite yet, but she's obviously needing some time to recover, so it'll be a lengthy hiatus for sure. So the loss of Alexa Bliss is huge. Even though she hasn't been champion lately, it still felt like she was a focal point of whatever show she was on. Ever since summer of 2020, she's just been at the forefront of WWE television. So yes, WWE didn't lose a women's champion per se, but the loss of Alexa is still critical and leaves a big void in the Raw women's division. So hopefully Alexa has a speedy recovery, and we look forward to seeing what's next for her character. Hopefully it's something that really takes her to the next level. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.